Hello and welcome again to Krishidan, where we discover how money can be a power for justice, empowerment, and positive change, particularly in the hands of the people. I'm your host, Erhan, and in our previous episode, we touched on the M-Pesa revolution in Kenya. We discovered how mobile phones transformed access to finance, enabling individuals to transact, save, and build money for the first time. But what if financial stability isn't simply in an individual's hand, but collective ones? Today, we look to village cooperatives, community based systems that defy the notion that success is founded on rivalry. Rather, they pose the question, what if development is founded upon cooperation? Let's start in India regarding the story of Amul. During the 1940s, the Gujarat milk farmers were being taken advantage of by middlemen. Prices were rock bottom, payments were uncertain, and control was a private distributorship. Instead of protesting and waiting for things to change, they established a dairy cooperative, owned and operated by the farmers themselves. Each member contributed milk, and each member got a fair share of the income. The concept was soon applied throughout the state, eventually giving rise to Amul, one of India's biggest and most trusted dairy brands even today. But the true success of Amul is not economic alone. It democratized market access. It equipped rural women to be entrepreneurs and milk testers. It established an enormous decentralized cold chain network that linked small farmers to national demand. And it demonstrated that with proper support and equitable governance, rural producers could create a white revolution. The Amul model operated on three villages. Village societies pooled and tested the milk. District unions packed and processed it. And state level federations marketed and sold it. At each level, the farmers themselves owned it, and at each level, they had a say in the decision making process. It wasn't merely selling milk, it was creating local government structures where individuals had a stake, a voice, and a common purpose. And this concept is not Indian specific. In Kenya, cooperatives for farmers have transformed the agriculture and the rural economy. For areas such as Muranga and Nairi, small scale coffee producers were faced with many challenges. Global markets were unpredictable, middlemen depressed, and most farmers had minimal support. But cooperatives provide the solution. By combining their products, resources, and bargaining power, farmers were able to negotiate better prices, invest in collective facilities, and obtain credit through microfinance partners. Actually, in most locations, microcredit only succeeds because of cooperatives. The lenders are reluctant to provide small loans to the informal economy. But if a cooperative guarantees, the risk is distributed. Members also guarantee each other's payments. Defaults don't happen often, and money gets reinvested in the community assets such as storage facilities, irrigation systems, or training programs. Cooperatives also facilitate peer accountability. Members can watch over one another's practices, police themselves for ethical behavior, and develop a culture of collective responsibility. In situations where state systems are actually weak or non existent, such localized governance is a lifeline. Cooperatives, of course, are not without their problems. Some turn bureaucratical or venal. Some other face difficulties in changing their leadership or political pressure from outside. In some instances, gender and ethnic exclusion have marred the initial ideas. However, village cooperatives are among the most resilient and revolutionary organizations in rural development. Despite these obstacles, they represent a different economic vision, one in which financial resources are utilized to empower rather than to exploit, and progress is distributed rather than consolidated. So, thank you for listening to this episode of Krishidan, and I, your host Arhan, will see you next time. Thank you.